Good afternoon and welcome to today's Adweek webinar, where we'll be talking about how to embrace found content for better brand storytelling. Today's webinar is sponsored by Catch&Release. I'm Danielle Moore, Senior Manager here with Adweek's Content Studio, and I'll be your host today. Before we get started, I just want to take a minute to make sure everyone knows what to expect from today's event and is familiar with the features of our platform here. Today's presentation should go somewhere in the 35 to 40 minute-ish range, after which we're going to have time for audience Q&A. So if at any point you have a question for our speaker today, just use that Q&A tool, which is right beneath the video window on your screen. We'll get to as many questions as we can at the end of the presentation. Also, it's definitely not too late to invite your colleagues to join us at today's event. About 15 minutes ago, you should have gotten a final reminder email from us, and in there you can find a link to the webinar registration page you can share with your colleagues. There's still plenty of time for them to join us live today, but do know that if they can't, today's webinar is being recorded and they can always catch the on-demand version. In fact, that on-demand version is going to be available to all registrants. We will email you a link to that later today when it's live around 3:30 Eastern or so be sure to keep an eye out for that. If you would like a PDF of today's slides, be sure to grab those from the event resources area right beneath the video window on your screen as well. As always, if you enjoy today's webinar, definitely check out the full Adweek webinars calendar at adweek.com/webinars, also linked below to see what we have coming up next. We've got a lot of great events in November, so be sure to check all of that out. And now let me introduce you to today's speaker. We're happy to be joined by Tom Christman, Executive Creative Director and Found Content Evangelist at Catch&Release. At Catch&Release, a content curation and licensing technology company, Tom helps inspire marketers to embrace the joy of co-creation. He's also a partner at Tiny, a creative boutique based at NYC. His Budweiser Sports Bowl spot, Heroes Welcome, made at Anomaly, was nominated for an Emmy Award, and his work has received multiple industry awards and honors. All right, without further ado, let me bring Tom up on screen here to get us started. Welcome, Tom. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'll pass it over to you.
Hello, Danielle, and thank you so much. And thanks to Adweek for having me and for having Catch&Release here today. And thanks to everybody who signed up and is listening now. Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Christman. I've been in advertising since, I like to say, the 1900s. It indeed was the 1900s when I started. I worked for all of these agencies. Some of them don't exist anymore, and I've worked for other ones too. I have my own consultancy, as Danielle said, called Tiny. But I'm in the capacity of being found content evangelist for Catch&Release. And that is, I'm spreading the gospel of found content, which is a new thing and hard to understand how to use. And a lot of people misunderstand it. So I'm here to bring that to light for you. And I call myself a co-creationist. This is a picture of me doing what I did at those big agencies for so long, which was fart around and wear silly hats and read Adweek. So that's a little found content for you. But the way I became a co-creationist is over the years at those agencies, I found that the things that were more interesting to me were the real things, the things like top left there. I worked at Taxi, and we had the Professional Bull Riders Association, which is fascinating. And I thought, well, we should just get the bull riders to tell us what their bull rides were like. So we came up with this idea to film in very, very slow motion, 1 second of a ride in super slow-mo, and then talk to the rider right after the ride and get the real story of that ride. Put them together, and it's fascinating. This guy got nailed by this bull, and he's talking about it like it was, amazing. So real people work really well. I worked with Weight Watchers, that's on the right, and Budweiser and Affinity, and then the Bronx Zoo, that's the couple things there. All of those things were real people doing real things, and I found it fascinating. In my outside time, I did a podcast called The A-List, which was all about the real people in advertising and how they got into the business. I ran the Mad Men Bowling League. And today I do a podcast called Lost and Found for Catch&Release, where I talk to real people like you on marketing teams, and we try to find out where they find their inspiration online, because you can find a lot of things online. And we'll show you in this presentation. You can find ideas, you can find campaigns. And so through all that, I came to come up with this idea of co-creationism. And before you ask, it is not a cult. Although, you may want to join forces to do this. So it's a new theory for marketers called co-creationism. What is co-creationism? Well, the way I describe it is a strategic marketing approach that involves the customers, employees, and even the broader community in the creation of brand-built content and experiences. So it gets them involved in there. I'm not talking about just like a hashtag contest or a UGC contest. I'm talking about actually getting them involved in the ideas themselves, and we'll go through how to do that. And because the truth is, there's a fire hose of content out there every single day. This is how many things are shared on all the different platforms. They're changing all the time. One goes away, another one comes up. One stat that I really love that I always go back to is there's 500 hours of video uploaded every single minute of every day. So there's been 4,000 hours of video already uploaded during the time that we've been in this webinar, which is insane, right? This is people just making films. This is real filmmakers. This is just everyday people going to shows and diners and eating foods and using products. They are putting these videos online, and it could just be for a friend. It could be as a joke. It could be as a real film that they want to make, but they are putting it up there, and you can actually license it and use it and get inspired by it. So you just have to realize that every human is a creator, and what can you make with if you were to be able to sort of give a brief out to your customers or connect with your customers in a way that makes them want to make things for you, or find out what they're doing and just jump onto it. Like, what could you do? It's kind of amazing when you start thinking about it. And co-creationism is not a new thing. It's been around. Humans love to do things together. This is a picture of the Cueva de los Manos, which is a cave in Argentina that is at least 10,000 years old. Archaeologists still don't know why these hands were painted there, but they do know that every single hand is different. It's an individual. They think that this is either a coming of age, a place where the warriors came of age, or where all the tribes gathered to show that they were, this could be the Declaration of Independence of that time, right? But whatever it is, it brought humans together. Humans love making things together. We're hardwired to do that. That's what made us the top species on the planet. We can coordinate together. And if you can coordinate with your customers and your employees, wow, that'd be pretty powerful, and get them to feel like part of the tribe as opposed to just a customer or an employee. So I wanted to get you this whole co-creationism thing. Sort of went away for a while. There was like in the 60s and the 70s, the creative revolution of advertising. The sort of the power went to the creatives, right, and the agencies. And we, as the creatives at those agencies, even in the 90s, we were powerful. We came up with the stories. We wrote the stories. We made them happen. We shot them. We made them perfectly. We made them to our specifications. And then COVID hit, and it sort of threw the whole industry for a loop, obviously, but it also threw production for a loop. How do you make things? How do you get things done in a world where you can't get together anymore? A lot of brands had to go to this idea of, how do we make things in a vacuum where we're making things together, but we can't coordinate on it. So a lot of brands went to their customers and their employees to sort of fill the gap. A lot of brands went to stock as well. But one brand that did it really well, and I'm going to show you this spot in a second, was Walmart. So they had to make people realize that they were still there. They were all together. They wanted their employees to feel heard. They wanted their employees to feel connected to them. So they made this spot, and Catch&Release actually helped them. I found this in our archives. This was way before my time there. but they help them to coordinate this and license it and get all the stuff together. So let's look at this spot.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow.
Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on.
Oh, it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
We all need somebody to lean on.
Thank you so much. So as you can see, very emotional, feels real. The still photography that were obviously shot by real customers and employees and not professional photographers. It adds to this level of homemade and, hey, we made this together. Even the singing, it's not always perfect. It wasn't always in the perfect tune. And it's so great. It feels like no other Walmart spot. And obviously there were a lot of spots like that during COVID, and it was something we all had to do. But I think it broke through to creatives like myself and brand marketers like maybe some of you out there that, oh, wow, we can actually make really cool things without having to, art direct and have everything, made by one individual. We can make things together. So after COVID, I think people got way more interested in this. And the truth is that there's lots of technology actually behind it too. The iPhone, for instance, with its cinematic cameras and its great recording, CapCut, all of these pieces of technology have turned, the regular everyday human being into a content production studio in a way. So all of that together has caused this now, this idea that anybody can be a co-creationist. So I want to show you this ADT spot next. And it was, what I love about this is that from the beginning, the idea of this was, hey, we're going to find these pictures. It's going to be found content and not, staged. The idea was, let's find pictures of people, first day of school, making a snowman, the family picture in front of the house where you can see ADT logos, new businesses, small business owners, where you can see an ADT logo in the background, but it wasn't shot for that. Now, curating that's really hard, because nobody really uses the hashtag ADT sign when it's like a picture of their family. It just happened to be there. So going out and finding these things was something that our curators helped with, but creatives are starting to do. So I want to show you this, and then we'll talk about how you can do it for yourself. We're going to show you one more spot, and then we're going to show you how to do it for yourself. So this one's ADT.
There, for those first days and first steps, that unexpected visit from an old friend, or that moment you met a new one. There for her first big night, and your first night on your own. There for the new beginnings, fresh starts, and here we go agains. Where these moments are made, there is where you'll find us. Helping protect every one of them, every second, with everything we've got. Because for the last 150 years, it's never been about what we're here to help protect you from. It's always been about what we're here to help protect you for.
I love that spot because it's, we've all seen the ADT spots where they, when an intruder breaks in and it's like really scary, and it sort of turns some people off, I think. I mean, I'm sure it works because they keep doing it. But this spot for me gives me that social proof, right? It's like it takes the idea of those signs and multiplies it by a million, because it's like, oh, wow. Yeah, those are the moments I want to keep safe. Those are the people I want to keep safe. And I just thought it was beautiful. And I see there's some questions about how you find things like that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. It's curation. It's a real skill. And I think it's an important skill for the next, 25 years. Okay. Next spot. This one was for Tide. And what I love about this is it takes it to the next level. You don't have to just find pictures and put them together in order with a cool music soundtrack. You can actually work with stuff that people have already made and come up with an idea that connects to it and adds on to it. Almost like when you put when you stitch into somebody else's TikTok and you add your own thing, like you can do things like that with found content. So this one, Tide actually came to Catch and Release with this idea of, we want to find the messiest messes on the internet. And we're going to put an actor, and I remember I think it was Lizzo at first. I think they were playing with using Lizzo. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I made that up just for legal purposes. But they wanted to put an actor into all these scenes saying, hey, this person's going to need more Tide. So they had to find the shots before they shot it. So this is a nice way of realizing that co-creation isn't just about, adding on to something at the end. You can actually start with it. So let's show the spot and then we'll talk about it.
Try Tide Power Pods with 85% more Tide in every pod.
Who needs that much more Tide?
He does.
No, what does that mean?
It means you're gonna need more Tide. See? More Tide. They're gonna need more Tide. Aw. Who's gonna need more Tide? You are. Yes, you are. Going outside? More Tide. More likes. More Tide. More science. More adorable. More viral. You're all gonna need more Tide.
You're gonna need more Tide.
It's a mess out there. That's why there's 85% more Tide in every Power Pod.
Try Tide Power.
I love that spot. That won tons of awards. And it's just one of those things where it's like, wow, until you see it, you don't realize how cool that's going to be. And, all of these spots go to show you that somewhere somebody is shooting something right now that could be your commercial. So if you start thinking like that and thinking, what could I be looking at that will either get me inspired to come up with ideas that will resonate with this culture, or how do I actually use it? So I've come up with some steps to co-creationism, how to be a co-creationist. So we're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to show you a tool you can use to get started. It has to do with Catch and Release. It's free, and it's super easy to use. And then we'll talk about some other things you could do. So the first step to how to be a co-creationist. So there's 3 steps. There's follow the culture, always be curating, and celebrate the creators. So let's start with follow the culture. You want to always be going where your customer is. You want to be there. It's hard these days because a lot of people are remote. A lot of people have a lot of things to do. You don't have the week or 2 to work on things anymore. So following the culture feels like a nice to have, but it's really important. What I did here is I went to Catch and Release, and I went to our Discovery channel, which is our creator community, which is thousands of people who have said, yes, I'll hook up my socials to your platform. And if anybody wants to license any of my content, I'd be happy to negotiate about that. Those people are in this creative community, and you can search across platform there. So I just put in skate culture, just to get myself into the mindset of what is skate culture right now. And I found a what do they call it? An inline skate or an old time skate, actual roller skate. I'm like, oh, those are back. Okay. That's something I didn't know. So right there is like a piece of culture that maybe I didn't know when I started on this project. So what do you do when you follow the culture? What can you find? You can find trends. You can find insights into the ways people are doing things. We used to do things called ethnographies. We used to do things called ethnographies that were we would follow people, right? We would go to their houses and see, make a peanut butter sandwich. And, you're working for Jif or whoever you're working for. And okay, oh, wow, they made a peanut butter sandwich, but they cut it this way instead of that way. You learn things about how people really live. It's hard to do ethnographies anymore, but you know how you can? Just go online and follow them on TikTok. Watch how people are using things. It's amazing the kinds of insights you can find on different platforms. Customer stories and super fan finders. That's my favorite, is like, who are the people that are always posting about you? And what are they thinking? And where do they live? And why do they do it? Why do they love you? I think it's an amazing opportunity to dig in. So that's the first step. Follow the culture. Just have your finger on listen, don't do anything about it. Just listen. The next step is always be curating. Listen long enough and you'll start curating. And this is the act of just saving posts, right? Saving them in a place where you can get back to them and use them. Save them in a place where you can put them next to each other and see the differences. What is the same? This is just a search I did on Catch and Release for Coca-Cola. I just wanted to find Coca-Cola things. These are pictures from Africa and America and all over the world of people doing different things. There's signs, and it just made me feel like, wow, this brand, if I was working on Coca-Cola, I would want to be curating this, saving it. There's so much to find. So I say curate all the time. If you're a planner, if you're a strategic planner, you should be curating when you're desk research. If you're a creative, you should be curating for creative inspiration. When I started in this business, whenever I got briefed, I would go to the magazine shop and I would grab I would buy all the magazines, right? I'd put it on, I'd expense it. I'd put all these magazines in my office and I'd rip out anything that had anything to do with what I was working on, because that was where culture was, right? There were a bunch of people whose job it was to sort of have their finger on the pulse of culture, and they would put, beautiful fashion and different things into this magazine. And I would be able to use it to say, okay, this connects to my dog food ad because people are wearing this now. And this is the ad, now culture is everywhere. It's not just in the magazine shops. It's not just you can't just watch the channels on TV. You have to watch everybody now. And to be able to grab that and use it later is incredible. Catch and Release has a great system for this. You can save things off of our creator community, of course, but you can also pull in things from anywhere on the web. What I like to do is I curate on TikTok. I'll just save things. I'll be like, oh, that's funny. That would be a funny, I have a whole campaign for Catch and Release called License This. It's like #license this. So I'll save things that I think other brands should be saving. So I'll say, hey, Sunoco, license this. Hey, Coca-Cola, license this. And I'll just shoot it out there to be like, you could be using these things. But the way I curate it is I keep it all on my TikTok. And then every once in a while, I'll go to Catch and Release and I'll just drop all of my saved files into the Catch and Release file. Then I have the original video forever. I have the original posters, so I know how to get to them if I want to license it. And I have a great repository of all the things that I would want to use in the future for a License This campaign, for instance. So that's curating. That's the second step. So always be curating. And then the third step to be a co-creationist is you want to celebrate your co-creators, right? These are human beings out in the world. These are not just so many marketers and advertising people are like, well, yeah, we'll just get the top influencers. We'll get, how many eyeballs do they give me? Okay, let's sign them on and they'll do that and they'll do this and we'll give them that brief. I think it's much better to think of them as humans and to remember that, these are people that are making things, especially found content. They're making things for their own uses. You coming in and using them either for inspiration or actual licensing in your campaigns, that's a gift to you, and you should treat it like a gift and treat these people as you would any creative person. So that means knowing the copyright owner of anything you're going to use. Always, find out who's in it, if there's other people in there, you want to clear them too. Clear additional IP. Sometimes there's the Eiffel Tower in your shot or the Empire State Building. You got to clear that stuff. Anything that's recognizable art in any campaigns. Those are all humans that made those things. So you got to license them. And then, proper licensing, knowing that you have the actual licenses for the things. This is a thing that makes found content harder for a lot of people because they don't think you can license it. But you actually can through things like Catch&Release. We have licensing people who can help you license anything you want, anything that you find anywhere on the internet. So it's not, remember to do that. Remember to be a co-creationist. So you can start co-creating right away starting today with a free account at Catch&Release. Use this QR code, or just go to catchandrelease.com. Use your company email to start an account, and just start grabbing stuff. Start being a co-creationist, because this is the new world. This is what's happening right now. We've actually created, because it's Halloween, happy Halloween, everybody. Talk about found content. This is where everybody goes out and gets found content and eats it. But we've created a happy Halloween gallery at Catch&Release that you can dig into. We've got so many galleries that our curators have put together for you, but you can also make your own collections and share them with your team. So that's my co-creationism presentation for today. I hope that was, I hope everybody liked that. And I'd love to take some questions if we have time.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those insights, Tom. Super fun, and what a great day to be celebrating creators as this holiday, right? With so much great Halloween content happening today, I'm sure. We have time to take a couple of questions here. We're going to get to as many as we can over the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. To our audience members, please know that if we do not get to your question today, we're always going to make sure they get forwarded over to Tom so that he has the opportunity to reply offline. Just a couple other quick reminders here from Adweek before we get started with questions. Today's webinar has been recorded, and you can always catch the on-demand version. We're going to email that out later today, so be sure to keep an eye out for that around 3:30 Eastern or so. And if you would like a copy of today's slides, you can grab those from the event resources area right beneath the video window on your screen. You just might have to refresh your browser since there was a last-minute update to the slides before we went live today, so be sure to grab those if you're interested. All right, now let's jump into some of these questions here, shall we? So for our first question here, Tom, someone says, what advice do you have for brands who are hesitant to involve their community in that storytelling process we've been talking about today? How can they start small to kind of like build confidence in this approach? Would be curious to get your thoughts there.
It's a great question. I think just by listening and just by collecting and having that collection, I find that clients, a lot of people that are afraid of this kind of thing, they don't know how good it is until they see it. So once they see the quality of the stuff that people are making, I think they'll change their minds. Just collect and listen, and you'll find things that it might not be that you use the actual piece, but you might use something that was gleaned from the piece. Whether that's, a lot of people say, your next campaign is found in the comments. I worked at VaynerMedia, and Gary Vaynerchuk liked to say that a lot, is the idea that your next campaign is in the comments. Just be listening and be ready to show your client, like, hey, look at all this amazing content that's out there that we could be using. Sometimes they're not going to do it because there's legal reasons, or I find a lot of banks find it very, scary, but the lawyers love catch and release, and if you have the right legal people behind you, I think it's great.
Yeah.
What's next?
For our next question here, someone's asking specifically, what tech did you use to curate those ADT images? Did you use a listening tool? How did that come about?
Yeah, I find that social listening tools, I've worked at a lot of agencies, and I always hear, oh, we use these social listening tools. And I look at them and I'm like, okay, you got some hashtags and some trends and some things, but it's like, it's hard to do it without being there, So we have human curators that are trained to go out into the wild internet and find things. And they only find things that are going to have a path to clearance, because they're not going to bring you something that, like, I don't know who this person is. I don't know where they are. I don't know where this came from. So they're very good at knowing that, okay, this is the original poster, and bringing you the right things and bringing you the right quality things. Now, we do have a masterclass called The Art of Curation that is totally free. And if anyone wants a masterclass, they should write to us. I'm Tom at catchandrelease.com. And we can get you a masterclass. We'll come in and we'll show you how to curate with our curators themselves.
We have your info up on the slide still while we're doing Q&A, so feel free, anyone who's interested, to reach out about that. Our next question here. So you mentioned earlier when you were answering the first question, like, yeah, there might be some industries who'd be a little bit more wary of this approach due to, like, being highly regulated, like the financial services industry might be. We've kind of got a different vein of that question. Someone's asking, what's the best way to curate B2B content, specifically because most people are posting more often about their personal lives. Any tips for those looking to curate in the B2B space?
Yeah, the B2B space. I mean, I've worked on B2B. They're people, they're human beings in B2B, right? So a lot of times that's where you go to your employees because they're more of the business people. But just a lot of people post now about their business stuff on TikTok. I think everyone should be on TikTok. I think everyone should be posting on TikTok. I think everyone should be on there every day. I am on there. I'm a 54-year-old man on TikTok, and I'm not afraid to say it. And it is great. I find so many insights and so many things. And if you're on there, you will see that there's more to it than you think. It's not just, soccer games and silly dances. There are people on there teaching people. There's a whole STEM area of TikTok. So it's deeper than you think, and it's more varied than you think. It's not just silly stuff.
Yeah, I so appreciate that. There's always like a different layer, and once you start looking, once you start doing that curational investigation type of things, you're going to find stuff that you weren't expecting to be there.
I was actually talking to I was at the Brand Side conference with the One Club. And I was talking to a marketer, and what this marketer does is they have different phones that they actually make the algorithm go towards the customer. So if it's say a B2B of like tech software, they would just get on Instagram and TikTok and look at just tech software stuff, find the developers, find go in there, and they would make the algorithm of that phone. It's like a burner phone that they use just for that, which I think is really fascinating way to curate, because we all have our own algorithms, right? I like board games. I'm not going to want to see board games if I'm working on the tech software, right? So that's another way to trick the algorithm.
Love that. Yeah, the idea of having like an algo assisted burner that's assisting you in that, and it really is so important because we do get locked into our own little feeds and our own little worlds. So kind of trying to simulate that's a great tactic too. We have another question here. Really curious to get your thoughts on this. I know sometimes when we're talking about licensing, some people can have some expense-related flags raised to that, right? So someone's curious to get your guidance on budgeting if you're going to take this kind of an approach. Someone asks, what budget considerations should you have in mind when co-creating or curating content? How would you advise people to approach that?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a question we get a lot because it's kind of a new world. People are used to just grabbing this stuff and just throwing it on to things and, asking for forgiveness later. There's a lot of stories of people getting sued that way. But I think the best way to think about it is don't think about it as, royalty free, where, you're just going to grab it and pay $100 and use it. Unless you're doing organic social, then you might think about that, but definitely pay the person. Do not just say, hey, can we use this? But beyond that, think about it like rights managed. So you're in the thousands there, right? You're not in the hundreds, but you're also not in the 10,000. I would think about it in that place. Now, of course, that's going to change if you've got a super viral shot or if you've got a creator who thinks that they are worth more than that, of course. And then you negotiate. But think about it as rights managed. And I think that's a good way to start thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that guidance. I think the next logical question for folks who are interested in incorporating some of this into their work and their campaigns is measurement, right? So how are we measuring success? Someone asks, how do you measure the success of these community-driven campaigns? Do you find that traditional metrics still apply, or is there a need for new KPIs? How would you approach that?
Yeah, no, I think it's still a communication, right? It's still you're still telling a story. In those spots that we showed, those are television commercials. So they work just like television commercials. So it depends on what you're making. But I think if you think about it like, this is just another story we're telling. We're just telling it with different pieces of data. I don't know if there needs to be a new measurement. There might be a happiness measurement of your customers, because I find that when customers are involved in these campaigns, they love it. I did the Weight Watchers campaign. We called it Selfie Festo because it was literally, we wrote the script for them. We sent it to them and we said, you can read the script or not. And then at the end, we asked them to give what do they cook and how do they, and they all sent back these tapes and they were all shot by themselves, right? Either on their computer or on their phones. And this is, 10, 12 years ago. We got some amazing stuff. And it was, we didn't have to do much reshooting. It was incredible. So what was the question again? I've talked myself around.
Yeah, if there were any new measurement metrics.
Yeah, so that measurement of I am still friends with all of those people who were in that campaign on Instagram. I still see their journeys and I still reach out every once in a while. So there's a real personal element that happens when you start doing this that makes it so much deeper than just a person that is filling a KPI.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that so much. And it really does. This is community building work as well, I think, right? Yeah. When you think about it that way, so it sort of doubles as community management. So,
and I think that's the future of media. I think, brands are going to be media channels, Adweek. Look at us. We're all gathered around Adweek right now. I'm so happy to be in this, part of this, and we're co-creating together.
Well, on that note, unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for questions today. But as I mentioned earlier, any questions we didn't get to, we're going to make sure Tom gets access to them. So no worries there. I'd like to thank Tom as our speaker today, as well as our sponsor, Catch&Release. Some final reminders here from Adweek. Be sure to grab those slides from the Event Resources tab and check your email for a link to the on-demand recording, which we'll send out later today. As always, if you enjoyed today's webinar, be sure to check out the Adweek webinars calendar to learn more about our upcoming events at adweek.com/webinars, also linked below. Again, huge thank you to Tom for being here with us today on Halloween and for letting us pick your brain during this Q&A session. Thank you to our audience for joining us live today. And as always, we look forward to seeing everyone on an upcoming Adweek webinar. Thank you all so much.